It's really hard to spend 100 hours on a project. Normally, when I'm bored and want to make something creative, my drive comes and goes and I'm left with something fun but not that grand. 2 years ago, when revisiting my design portfolio, I set out to make something truly grand. Perfection is the antithesis of growth. You've got to grow first before you can strive for perfection. Starting a project at this scale without first refining my craft would have been a recipe for disaster. Luckily, I knew this before I began and waited until I was ready. I was working as a motion designer at the time at a healthcare company. At work, I wasn't really creatively fulfilled, but I was becoming a much better designer day by day. Then one day I woke up and decided it was time. So, what was the project? I wanted to make a secret agent intro sequence. Think like Mission Impossible, where the protagonist is being assigned their mission. I called mine Noble 7. I called it this because Halo Reach was my favorite video game, and in the game you're Noble 6, so I don't know. Okay, step 1's to brainstorm this thing. I had to plan this whole thing out, from the script and its visual identity to the locations where we would shoot and everything. I spent a lot of time developing the plot, creating characters, and doing research to make sure I got the terminology correct. In part of the story, there's an undercover agent that's working in Budapest and gets killed while he's undercover. I was doing this whole thing in New York, so I had to improvise. I found this street in New York that kind of looks like Europe if you shoot it correctly, so me and my friends went there and shot. Then about a month later, I was on vacation with the same friend, and we went out into the desert just to film this one shot for the video.
Rolling.
I'll never talk!
It's such a fun little detail that most viewers wouldn't really even pick up on, but it adds so much to the story and definitely helps it feel real. Another part needed my lead to be at JFK, so we did an hour-and-a-half commute to JFK just to shoot a few photos in the baggage claim. I'm so grateful that my friends were down to help me out with this project. Without them, I couldn't really make it happen. Now that the photos and videos were shot, it was time for me to get to work. For this kind of project, if I just used assets from online, it would save me a lot of time, but I was in no rush, and I wanted to make everything by hand. I'm talking piece by piece. If there was a little gear icon in the bottom left corner for even one frame, I wanted to have created it. I wanted to fill this thing to the brim with hidden messages and details that most viewers would never even see, just to add further depth to the project. As a creative, as you're honing your craft, when you look back at past work, it's always never as good as you remember. So when I look back at this project, I definitely think about how much better it could be now. But even though it's not up to my current standards, I still know how much effort it took. You can really tell this thing took a lot of time, and that's what I was going for. Alright, I've talked about it enough. It's time I show you. Without further ado, here is Noble 7.
Welcome to Noble 7. Please input your password. Facial recognition scan needed. Thank you. Welcome, Agent G18. Operation Impact has become Priority 1. I have been tasked with the onboarding process. The black market arms dealer AFM is slowly becoming a global threat. We've noticed the group's rise since early 2006. The organization, while small, has supplied weapons to a variety of militia groups throughout South America and Africa for the last 15 years, providing them with weapons, ammunition, and explosives. We've identified the leader of AFM as Liam Walsh. Walsh acts as the figurehead for the organization. Studying at Columbia and gaining a doctorate from the Zurich Institute, he's far more intelligent than your average arms dealer. Don't underestimate him. Our intel points to AFM escalating things to a nuclear level. We had a mole who infiltrated Walsh's inner circle. Unfortunately, Agent D4 was just confirmed KIA after being detected. Before D4 was killed, he filled us in on AFM's plans to go nuclear. Even though he was detected, we still believe our intel regarding the launch codes holds up. We've been tracking Walsh across the world with the help of D4, making his way east towards what we suspect is the United States. As we'd expected, on August 1st, 2021, we got a hit. Our facial recognition software detected Walsh entering the U.S. via John F. Kennedy Airport in New York City. Walsh plans to meet with Peter Sokolov, a member of the Russian General Staff and fellow Columbia alumni, who we believe was recently radicalized. He, of course, would have access to Russia's nuclear launch codes. We suspect the deal will take place in the financial district of Manhattan in the upcoming days. Your mission is to intercept Walsh after the transaction and take him into custody along with Sokolov. Walsh is the priority. You are authorized to use lethal force if necessary. Proceed to the following coordinates for mission supplies. Godspeed.